just a sec.
Feels like Alistair to...
Okay, are we actually alive? We live until we die. Nope, gone forever. Goodbye. My final message. We'll live until we die. Nothing else. Just butts. Okay, I know it's not my internet because I actually brought up YouTube. And, like, my YouTube stuff ran fine. And anything else, like, I did on my internet is running fine. I'm gonna make my character then die. Didn't even live long enough to play with the Kubi crew. So I guess we have a stream still. This has got to be on Twitch's end, because I'm not having any issues on my end. Are we back? I think so, Guru. Okay, if you guys can hear me, just type cheese in chat. Okay, so Rain's got me. Okay, I got cheese from the 7th, 4th, Mott's. Cole, you're fired. Okay, I guess the stream's okay now. And thanks, Twitch, for coding on vibes. Like I said, it's gotta be a Twitch thing, because everything on my end, like with my equipment, is all okay. Basic idea, flesh out the backstory. Don't have a job. Unemployed? But you're too cute to be unemployed. They should hire you to be cute or something. Being cute was your job, making it. Ooh. Please, we all know if I got paid to be cute, I'd be a millionaire already. Oh shit, my pee-pee. Cheese, sorry, right after I was getting a popsicle. It's okay. But I'll only forgive you if you tell me what flavor of popsicle you have. You have one of the multicolored ones, and you're gonna be like, ooh, which color can I reach today? It's frozen yogurt. And what flavor of frozen yogurt is it? Is yogurt its own flavor? Plain? Ah. So you can tap it for white mana, gotcha. want to go as a fox. Oh, you already are a fox. I missed that. It's okay, Guru. It's just... It's a Magic the Gathering joke. Went to go get a snack. Is Twitch being normal now? I think it's functioning. Everybody says it's good, so... Like I said, I feel like this was definitely a Twitch issue because nothing on my end was having any problems. But our goal for this stream is I really want to get Sour Patch to be a Dragonite tonight. I mean, she's kind of been waiting for like a month at this point. Magnemite, Dragonite. It's from the hit song Enter Sandslash. What level does she need to be to evolve? 55. So she is almost there. She's a late bloomer. Let's go with my Thresher Shark. Triton? That's a very shark name. Might need to wait another stream. I think we can get her there. She's at level 52, so we're not that far. Excalibur, it's not that far. In general, Sonic CD's opening is just amazing. I will quote it whenever given the chance. Should I name my character Shoal? Triton is the D&D race. Oh, okay. Look at the speed of that experience bar. Well, Dragonair is in the slow level up group, so she do not be getting much. She needs much more experience to evolve than a lot of other Pokemon do. Or a lot more experience to level up, I'm sorry. Hello, Julia. You have fun playing outside with your friends? I can show you a Thresher Shark. But woman, take your time. If you want to get a vibe for what my character will be like, Kimpty. Sorry, I'd take a moment to pet on Julia. So wibbly. Also, fun little thing about Julia, the way her fur pattern is, she looks like she always has eyeshadow. Born to slay. Like Goku in Legacy of Goku 2. It is actually so interesting to me watching 7th like replay Legacy of Goku, how accurate a lot of the stuff is, even though it pulls this and that from the English dub exclusively. Like, how accurate everything is except Goku's characterization. Though that does come back to my thing, is like, I feel like... in general, only Toriyama really understood Goku enough to write him well. At least from anybody who's, like, written on him in official things. They look like they're waiting for their parents to finish arguing so they can tell them they threw up. Oof. Oh, Julia came in and she is in snuggle baby mode. She keeps trying to get under, like, she keeps trying to push her head under my hand. Enough to ride him well. We can learn. That was supposed to be the word right, but unfortunately American English has a very bad tendency to soften the letter T until it sounds like a D. And hey, I love a good D just as much as the next person. My brain wanted to hear Ride snuggle the kitty. She's getting comfy on my leg now. Oh, I think I've mentioned this before, but when Julia first started sneaking into my house, I'm from the South. Our tea isn't soft. Oh, you'll have to show me sometime. But Julia was like super small and super thin, and I was worried about her, like, you know, she was all skin and bones, and she had that weird thing where she was always cold. Like, she always felt like her body temperature was low. That has been months ago. There's the state where the D is sharp and spiky. That's the Catboy state. But now, not only is Julia quite thick and very warm, she apparently was still not fully grown because she is now bigger than Dot. Shark also looks like someone sitting on the bus seat next to them just sneezed in their open hand and wiped it on the seat in front of them. Ugh. Wait, just a sec. I don't know if you guys heard it, but some little Julia purrs into the microphone. If I had a nickel for every time a trans girl who had 2 cats forcibly adopt himself into their lives, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Carbonated kitty, she's very bubbly. Precious baby, which I know is what you meant to type, but also, like, I just imagine previous baby, like you're just clicking on the back button on your browser. Hi, Tully. Since C and V are right next to each other.
Tully here. It's a great night for fishing. My quillfish has grown again. It was only about so big when I caught it, but now it's way bigger. Oh yeah, I KO'd a wild raticate. It was huge, like this big even. I guess I can't tell you over the phone. Well, I'll be seeing you.
You know, it's so funny, not just with Pokemon anime, but in general, like how everything that predicted the future thought video calls would be like the big thing. I mean, what is a full-grown cat but a previous baby? Fair enough. Are we all not previous baby? No, but it's so funny how much stuff in the 90s and early 2000s thought video calls were going to be like the next big thing. And like they're certainly available now as an option, but I feel like almost nobody wants to use them. Because like you're telling me I'd have to put on fucking pants to make a phone call? No, fuck you. I mean, it gets especially worse if like video calls are the standard, because, you know, like, you know, if you're a man, you just comb your hair and put on a freaking shirt or something and you're fine. But if you're a woman, you're expected to show up anytime you're on video with, like, full makeup looking drop-dead gorgeous and perfect or some shit. We'll be able to carry our phones in our pocket by 2055? No, they'll keep scaling bigger to where, like, tablets are just the standard. So it'll be the opposite. You can no longer carry your phone in your pocket. You need a separate carrying case just for your phone. Listen, for a video call, I am looking like a pathetic wet cat, and that is the best you're getting. I have permanent bed head. That just means you're a protagonist, Cole. You have at least that one Aho gay that's always sticking up. Rip to all my dyslexics who constantly get Aho gay and Ahegao confused. I'm very sorry. You got the hair vents so you don't overheat. What's that old meme post? Like, do not cover or remove an anime girl's hair vents. My hair waits for the first opportunity to get messed up, and then I get like a cool 5 hours of it looking normal. It's that's the other side of 5-hour energy. It's like my new product, No Hour Energy, which skips all of the high energy caffeine stuff and goes straight to the exhausted burnout part. Don't know how some people can tussle it all over and fall into the exact place it was. I think unless you're a Saiyan, that doesn't work for anybody, actually. Though it is really funny to me. One of the few really good jokes in the Dragon Ball Evolution live-action movie is Goku trying to slick his hair down for a party, and then it all just pops back into the place and flings the hair gel like everywhere in the room. And the best part is they actually reused that joke in an episode of Dragon Ball Super, where Goku tries to dress up in a suit and slick his hair down, and after a little bit the hair just pops back out into its regular Goku proportion. So you know that was the one good joke in the movie because that actually made it into the show. I think people do it, don't lie to me. Well, I don't know who those people are, and I'm not one of them. It does not like hair gel either. It just looks like a spikier version of itself. Hair does get used to whatever position you put it in if you do it long enough. That's true. That's why a lot of times if you're someone who has a ponytail all the time, your hair will just have like a crinkle in the back wherever you tie the ponytail. Like when you let it down. Let me a good crinkle. You know, in addition to the hydrate, I probably need to get a stretch command as well. Remind everybody to stand up. Also, I apologize for the game being too loud. It probably has something to do with me not using it for several weeks, but OBS did have an update, and of course it reset all of my audio settings before I started the stream. The way it showed the screen originally, it looked like it nuked everything I had, and I was about to start crying, but it repopulated with all my other stuff. It just didn't redo the audio settings. Doesn't need an update to do that, too. You know, one thing that gets me, it's not just with, like, actually OBS is not an example of this, it's just the most commonly used thing, but it's weird how many things in the the technology side of life, there's only, like, either one company that's just everything, or, like, maybe two or three. Three at the most. I mean, there's also Streamlabs, and you can do it directly from Twitch's streaming dashboard, but that just seems like I don't want to do it like that. But it's like so many things pivotal to so many people's lives have only like one or two options. And that's all, and it's just weird how monopolistic a lot of tech stuff feels. Which, granted, I know that a monopoly is just basically the end goal for every company, so they don't actually have to have reasonable prices or provide a good service or anything. But it's weird how long, like, so many companies went to go with, like, having actual reasonable competition. But in the tech space, it's like everything is so ecosystemified and stuff and monopolized that, like, ow. Because, I mean, I feel like with everything, a lot of stuff is people complaining about how much a service is half-assed or falling apart or barely works. But there's literally nothing else. You either use that one specific thing or you just don't do the thing. Or the alternatives out there are, like, so under-supported that, like, they're not really a true alternative. It's like, for a lot more tech stuff, it's like there needs to be a McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Because, you know, like, if you don't feel like going to McDonald's, there are a bunch of other options that'll provide you, you know, something in that vein of that's comparable. And it may not be exactly the same. It'll have its own unique things to stand out. But it does work as a replacement if those things that make it stand out are more to your preference. Alternatives in concept. Yeah, they're just the concept of being an alternative, but they're not really one. And the thing is, a lot of the stuff is pushed so hard into being ecosystems that it's like the concept of starting fresh isn't really that viable. And I mean, I've watched it happen with, like, game consoles and stuff over my lifetime because, like, you know, prior to the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, you know, whenever a new console came out, you could go for whatever because, like, a lot of people traded their games in, and aside from backward compatibility, like with, you know, the Game Boys or from, like, PS1 to PS2, aside from that, you know, going from an NES to a Super Nintendo, there's no cross-compatibility there, so you might as well get a Genesis or the PC Engine / TurboGrafx, because, like, you know, you actually decide which game library do I think is the coolest. But like I said, now everybody's so deep in digital ecosystems that are controlled by the singular company that, like, once you're really into something, it's like, I feel like almost nobody went from having a PS4 to buying an Xbox Series X or something like that. Because your PS4 games are going to carry over to your PS5, and a lot of them had free upgrades. And, like, you know, for older stuff, like, let's say, even though I don't like selling my older stuff, you know, if you wanted to go from a Super Nintendo to buying a PlayStation at the time, and you weren't interested in the N64, a lot of people just sell off all of their Super NES games. And, you know, then kind of put that money toward their new PlayStation and the new games they wanted to get. But, you know, you can't sell off your digital library. You know, you've already spent that money. You're kind of stuck in the sunken cost hole. So, you know, you get to the point where, like, well, I've put all this money into the PlayStation ecosystem. I might as well just get a PS5. I just had the same issue with Wacom. Yeah, I know. I remember LD mentioning that a lot too, because she was having issues with her Wacom stuff, and then like, I think she finally did end up switching to shit. I can't think of the name right now, and what sucks is it's actually Huion. I think is the one she went with, because I think Huion's the one I use as well. Wacom was the lone company making drawing tablets. They could just jack up the prices. Yeah, the prices on Wacom stuff is insane. It's crazy because, like, I have a Huion, and I was going to buy a Wacom thing, and the Huion had more features and better features for less than half the price. Low-key nervous to make the switch to Huion or the XP. I was just too much of a cheapskate because I'm not going to... At the time, I could not have spent $700 on a tablet with less features than a $300 one. And, like, also with the ecosystem trap, I feel like it kind of limits the companies to a bit too. Because, like, you know, Nintendo is pretty famous for every one of their consoles being, like, really different in character and personality to one another. But the Switch 2, even though it's a great console, is more Nintendo Switch. And that's not a bad thing. The Nintendo Switch is literally, like, one of, if not my favorite game consoles of all time. But it doesn't feel like a very Nintendo-y console by being the thing you already bought, but better with more features. But they're kind of stuck with that because far too many people have put far too much into the Switch ecosystem. If Nintendo released a new console that couldn't play your Switch library, it's just gonna bomb. It's gonna be the Wii U again. Which is ironic because the Wii U could play the Wii library. But the thing Nintendo underestimated about the Wii is that people did not buy the Wii to play video games, plural. They bought the Wii to play Wii Sports. And maybe New Super Mario Brothers. So a lot of people moved on from the Wii to just playing stuff on their smartphones. Because that's where the, you know, casual, low-impact video game market mostly went. Like, I can trust it long-lasting, like my Intuos Pro. Like, Wacom may be expensive, but you can trust it to be there at your funeral. I mean, if Wacom has always worked for you and you want to stick with it, I totally understand. But, like, similarly, I'm glad there is competition in the space. Meaningful competition. Because, like, I feel like every phone is either, like, Android or Apple. And that's a little bit scary because that means if there's some weird fuck-up on Google's end, then you're just sunk. But again, like, it's the way that everything's gone with being so ecosystem centric. You know, it's kind of allowed these companies to just continue building the monopoly and to provide you with less and less, and there's not really much you can do about it. Aside from, you know, just not use the product. But for a lot of stuff, especially like with smartphones and stuff, that's a difficult thing to do. Especially because, like, you know, a lot of places you'll go to a job and it won't be like, you know, here's the terminal or here's the computer or whatever that's for all the job stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you just download an app on your personal phone that you own for part of the stuff you need for your job. It's like, no. Because I remember at one job I worked at, like, where I had to do, like, scanning and stuff like that. You know, there was, like, it was like, oh, you know, you can have your scanner, but you'll have to check it out every day. Why don't you just download the scan, you know, what your blah, 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 app on your phone, and you can just use your personal phone for it. And I'm like, no, I will go check out my scanner. Which the thing is, like, the scanners, at least for the last little bit that I worked there, were literally just incredibly modified Android phones. Oh, and this app is linked to your phone, that phone specifically, so if you get a new one, you'll have to pay to reset it onto your new phone. It's like, no, for any job that I've had to do, I ardently and staunchly refused to put any money into anything where they want you to pay money for something for the job. Not unless it's something that I would use in my day-to-day life anyway. Like, for example, one job, they're like, okay, you need to make sure you always have a Sharpie with you so you can do this and this and this. I'm like, well, okay, I like Sharpies anyway. I'll use them around, you know, in real life. So it's my personal Sharpie. Though granted, I was always the person who would remember to have their Sharpie. So I was like, Micaiah, can I borrow your Sharpie? And I'm like, no. Because the thing is, like, when I was younger and had, whether it was jobs or at school, I would make the mistake of being that person who'd be like, yeah, sure, you can borrow my pen or pencil. I would never see the fucking thing again. And they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I took it home with me, and I lost it after I took it home. And I'm like, couldn't imagine being a teacher with that being one of many reasons. Something happened to me when I was working as a photographer. Yeah, you can borrow this thing, gone forever. Oh no, I never let anybody borrow anything of mine. Do a lot better now, huh? How about showing me your technique in a real battle with me? I'll be waiting on Route 34. And thus trust issues are formed. My platinum gone to the ether. That's why you shouldn't invest in precious metal, Skull. Though, like, fortunately, I have been incredibly lucky with almost every game I have loaned out. I've gotten back with one exception. But, it's funny because, like, when I was a lot younger, there are games I loaned out that are worth, like, hundreds of dollars now that people would have choked me to death, but I got them back with the exception of one, which is my Super Nintendo copy of Mega Man 7, which is, like, a $200 game now. Granted, I not only have Mega Man 7 digitally on Wii U, but it's on every Mega Man collection, or not every, but it's on every platform in the Mega Man Legacy Collection too. So I have Mega Man 7 and I can play at any time on multiple platforms. Because I've got Legacy Collection 2 on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. And I also have my digital version of Mega Man 7 on Wii U that's like the original SNES version. Plus I also have the old Mega Man Anniversary Collection for GameCube and Xbox. So Waited for you. I even cut back on my shopping to raise my Pokemon better. We appreciate Huion for pushing them to lower their prices. Ever since I was little, my mom would tell me to never let anyone borrow my stuff for this very reason. Your mother was 100% correct. Has a small fortune purely in retro games. Not on purpose. It just comes with the territory of being old and not getting rid of your stuff. I mean, like, you'd have a small fortune if you just went to GameStop and said, I'm going to buy a GameCube today, multiple times prior to the year 2017. Like, there's stuff I have, like freaking Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes I got for $17 used at GameStop. After, like, the PS3 and 360 were out, and that's like an $80 game now, or $90. I'm like, how? You know, again, like, these games were not particularly rare or hard to find or even expensive at the time. I still remember Fire Emblem Path of Radiance being $23 at GameStop one time. Time when you could buy games at $19. You still can now. It's just certain specific ones. Because, believe it or not, a lot of the retro game market has bottomed out. It's just a few that are just really fucking expensive. Skies of Arcadia being like $150. Believe it or not, that's gone down at price. It used to be $300 for the GameCube version. They just need to fucking put Skies of Arcadia Legend on GameCube NSO. That would probably sell more Switch 2s than a lot of other exclusives right now. GameCube in general has gone down quite a bit. I feel like GameCube being on NSO, just the concept of a lot of these games being made available again has actually driven their prices down, even if they're not on there yet. Leave I loaned one single game to a friend, Animal Crossing New Leaf. He liked it enough that he offered to trade a copy of Pokemon Diamond, 2013. My brother sold his copy. I wasn't feeling Animal Crossing much at the time, so I was happy. Major exception to game loaning. Yeah, you made out pretty cleanly there. The DS Castlevania Dreams. I can read. Drops. After Dominus Collection, love to see it. I do like Dominus Collection in general is just an amazing compilation. I wish I had gotten my I wish I had thought to, or give me a sec. I wish I had figured out everything and been able to stream my Dawn of Sorrow playthrough through Dominus Collection. Honestly, half tempted to just stream Dawn of Sorrow again sometime in the future, just off of Dominus. Did I screw up my training? I believe he stole that diamond copy from someone in school, but I mean, who's to say? Well, it's yours now, so... All those Pokemon got to live happily ever after. With you, a person who loves Pokemon a whole lot. One time my eldest brother stole my Darkrai because he wanted to borrow it, and I couldn't get it back until my brother traded it back to my game behind his back. That's mean. Don't take somebody's Pokemon. Also, I love how Darkrai's name is just the English word dark and then the Japanese word kurai, which means dark. Dark, dark. I'm like 2 out of 10 on the Pokemon fan scale. Sure, I'm convinced. It's like saying I'm a 2 out of 10 on the cheese fan scale. It was a movie ticket, Darkrai. Oh, geez Louise. Siblings either the best friends or at each other's throats 24/7 with no in-between. Also, random shout out to something I had completely forgotten about in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum is that in the, I think in Iron Island, you can actually catch wild Steelix. So you can actually add a Steelix to your team even if you don't have anybody to trade with. Same friend who also stole my shiny Mew that inadvertently led me to meeting you and everyone else. That's good of me to befriend a klepto in the end. The lady who wrote "We need to talk about Kevin" said that that is not the worst of what siblings could do to each other. Stole stuff from him too, so maybe it's just corporal punishment. I mean, like, I don't necessarily hold what kids and preteens do to each other against them that hard. Especially if you have, like, a rough time from family stuff at home. Even if it's not abusive, just, you know, feeling like you're neglected or not important to your family can still fuck you up and mess with you and stuff like that, so... But regardless of how it happened, I'm still glad you're here to be with us and be a part of everything with us, Maddie. You make my life better just by being here. I have to take off for tonight. Work awaits me in the morning. Good night, Rain. Have a nice, comfy, relaxing sleep. I hope you have one of those sleeps where you wake up all stiff and stuff because you slept so well that you didn't move around at all. It's actually getting really chilly by me tonight, and I'm kind of excited because I hope that means I can turn my heater on in my bedroom and cuddle under my blankies and get super comfy warm. Ooh, it's currently 55 degrees. Low's 46. Ooh. Also, this is Fahrenheit. The low's not 46 degrees Celsius. I'd be literally on fire. I mean, people who lack respect for other people's belongings will always bite them in the ass. Because of my elder brother being the way he is, me and my brother would always team up against him when we actually got stuff taken away from him. Okay, there is something about people who don't have respect for other people's personal belongings that, like, really rubs me the wrong way aggressively. Especially if there's a power dynamic on top of it, like people who just steal shit from their children or break their children's things. You don't piss off younger siblings. We may not have the power, but we do have the tricks. I honestly believe that any parent who's destroyed some of their child's property or possessions, especially if it was something that was emotionally important to the child, like as a punishment. Well, once again, I'm not talking about like if you do this by accident, like you sit on it or something like that, and you actually feel bad about it. But people who've actually like intentionally gone out of their way to destroy their child's possessions in front of them, you should not have ever had children. You should not be with that child. Like, just in general, having disrespect for other people's personal possessions, even if it's something that like doesn't mean anything monetarily, it's just like that's an absolute, like, one of those things that just makes me want to never, like, I will instantly lose all respect for that person if they're like that. Even if they didn't do anything to me specifically, I will never forgive them. I apologize for getting all serious mode there for a sec, but it's something that's, like, very deeply important to me. If it's case by case, I wouldn't condone destroying your kids' belongings. Okay, no, I'm not talking about taking away. You know, not stuff like that. I mean, I'm more talking about, like, parents who, like, smash their kid's game console with a hammer or something. I'm not talking about taking their things away, because, like, sometimes you do have to discipline your kids by saying, like, okay, you know, you can't have your video game or you can't watch your tablet until you're done with your homework or until you eat dinner. You know, I'm not talking about that kind of thing. And if it's something that's actively hurting them or hurting other people, absolutely take that away from them, but also explain why you're doing it. I'm talking about, like I said, people like, you know, you'd see this shit on, like, Instagram or whatever, people, like, destroying their kids' Xbox in front of them with a hammer or something. Like, no, that shit is what I'm talking about. friend came from, at least from my perspective, a very privileged background. For the record, was like middle class, so I don't feel all that bad keeping a small bag of colored pencils from him. Never do that now, but yeah. Again, like, I'm not gonna hold something you did when you were like 12 or 13 that's that minor against you. Because another less egregious one is I did have a friend in school whose mother would just, like, take his video games or some of his collectibles and just go sell them at a pawn shop without telling him. And without asking about it. And, like, never bring it up either, and then deny that they did it. And then he would go find his stuff at a pawn shop, and pawn shop guy would be like, oh, hey, yeah, and like, hey, that's my game. He was like, oh, yeah, your mom came in, you know, she said you didn't play it anymore, and he's like, that's not true at all. Yeah, that is incredibly fucked. You know, once again, like, another layer of how lucky I am to have the mother I have. Because she always... Okay, she was not only respectful of my possessions, which, like, when I learned more about her background when I got older, and her being the middle child of 5, and her basically getting to own nothing, like, aside from a couple of stuffed animals and a few other, like, random dolls, which, of course, like, her older brother would, like, shave their heads or burn them or shit like that. Which, like, he wasn't, like, some horrible sadist. It's just, you know, they were, like, 5 and 9 respectively. But like, you know, my mom would not only respect my personal property and teach me how to treat my stuff well, but to the point where even if I was being, you know, like, did something where I got in trouble, she would never take away any of my possessions because she'd say that they did rightfully belong to me. But she, like I said, I think I've mentioned this on stream before, it's like, I was like, I won't take your video games away. They're yours. I have no right to them. They're your personal property. However, I do pay for the electricity in this house, so you cannot use my electricity for the next week for your games. I'm like, ah! I'm biased, but I have friends tell me, just get a new one, because my mom got me whatever I wanted, but it would always make me upset because that's mine. Exactly. You know, like, even if you can get a better version of exactly the thing, that's still not yours. It's still not the one you had that was yours, designated to you. A lot of stuffed animals and other less than masculine toys slowly disappear over the years. I've never had anything of mine destroyed. I wouldn't hesitate to jump to conclusion. Yeah, you've told about that before, and that makes me so sad. Completely hear you on that. I wasn't all that upset about it. If he did ask for them back, I probably wouldn't. Probably would have given them back to him and just kind of let it go. Me and my brother would have played Game Boy underneath the covers if our mom said that. Like, taking it away, the DS was the only choice. Oh, I figured you meant would have given them back, Maddie. Yeah, I know what you meant. Come on, Sour Patch, you're almost there. Come on, Sour Patch, let's go. Dun 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 dun. Also, I gotta say, one of my favorite things, I love playing GBA games in a DS Lite. But the problem is, like, it's great for, like, RPGs and stuff, but the fact that it interprets the Game Boy Advance buttons literally and there's no way to change it means that you're always stuck with like on Castlevania, A is jump and B is attack. Like on the DS's layout is super uncomfortable to me. Because, you know, obviously with like the DS, which is the same layout as the Switch's buttons, you would want B to be jump and Y to be attack. Remember what brats me and my brothers were? Some punishments were understandable. I was never really that poorly behaved of a kid, but I feel like a lot of that was because my mom would always explain things very clearly to me. And she'd also explain to me, like, why what I was doing was hurtful and would hurt people or hurt her. And why would I, like, if I said something, why it was hurtful to her. Because, like, I did misbehave every now and then, but a lot of times I'd misbehave exactly once and then get explained to me why this is bad, and I'm like, oh. But then again, like, also, my mom was never, like, I was never left feeling neglected or like I wasn't getting attention. See here. I was also good at snagging small things as a young kid, so I was a blossoming klepto. Makes sense why I became friends with him. Gave up that life after serving 45 years in Alcatraz. On your 26th birthday after serving 45 years. Sour Patch time! Oh, I love the little animation with the toesies. She's so cute. Menace as a kid, kind of America turned out decent. Ooh, Tingawak. Put it over safeguard. Bumpy. I don't know, I feel like a lot of kids don't necessarily mean poorly. It's just like, I feel like a lot of kids who are menaces like that but are fundamentally actually good people on the inside tend to be people who are just trying to assert their individuality. And kind of like put out there that no, I'm a person, I have my own autonomy. Even if, for a lot of times, the only way to get that autonomy and get it noticed is to do something bad. That may not be the active thought going through their head at the time, but I feel like that does play into it for a lot of people. Because a lot of people, especially like people my age and older, or my age and younger, excuse me, did grow up in households where both parents were always busy, or, you know, they were the child of a divorce like myself, but you know, they grew up with one or both parents were almost always busy, so a lot of times they felt like they were not a priority because, you know, you have two working parents and everything gets like to where it's more and more of the parents having, you know, more stuff they have to do in addition to work. Or if either of them has a demanding job, plus, you know, they gotta work, they also have to come home, take care of the house, you know, make whatever food or whatever, general, like, house care stuff. Kids are a mix of animalistic instinct and the most concentrated humanity for better and worse. All just trying to figure things out the best they can. Yeah. My mom's always said that kids are meant to misbehave. That's how they learn empathy. That's true.
Hello, Tully here. It's a great night for fishing. We should get a battle going. I'll be fishing on Route 42. Swing by if you have the time. I'll be seeing you.
Yo, let's have Sour Patch have a victory lap battle against Tully. Whoa, I'd never seen this before. She has her own unique sprite. I have not seen that dragon sprite before. That's right, I don't know if I've ever had a Dragonite in Gold, Silver, or Crystal before. see your parent get upset what you did. Most kids who care about their parents who teach them what they did sucked. Yeah. So like I said, my few times misbehaving, I could tell, like I guess I didn't do anything egregiously terrible, but just, you know, shitty little kid stuff. And my mom getting not mad at me, not yelling, but genuinely kind of upset that I did it. And I'm just like, oh, I feel like absolute shit. But I don't know, I'm still not over it. I've never seen that dragon sprite before. That's so cool. Because I was expecting, you know, I think in Gen 1, Dragonite just has, like, the Rhydon sprite. It's insane to me people expect kids, especially teens, to just know how to move through the world. They aren't doing that perfect, that they're rotten and bad, but grown adults are just allowed to tirade, go on tirade after tantrum because that's how they are. Which, of course, those two things are in no way connected. The people who, as kids, were expected to suddenly figure everything out with no guidance definitely, certainly did not grow up to be immature adults who don't know how to emotionally handle things. When I was a kid, we something, this, that, or the other, and I turned out just fine. Sounds fake. Ooh, Freddy's gonna learn how to sing. Don't forget Tail Whip. You know, it's been a part of Pokemon so long that I don't think anybody thinks about it, but Tail Whip was kind of not the correct translation for what that move is, because in, like, the Japanese version, it's more close to being called, like, tail wag, like wagging your tail. It's supposed to be a cute little thing. That's why it's a cute move in contests and stuff. I know that the English, like, move descriptions do describe it as, like, you know, the Pokemon wags its tail cutely. But I feel like Whip, just, like, with Tail Whip, I get more the idea of, like, you know, them spinning around and slamming you with their tail. So it sounds more like an attack move.
What? That's not right.
I joke that when I was a kid, I would hear about war stories, and I turned out just fine, but it's me being disheveled and anxiety-ridden. Lucky I had you and other old friends, because I would have been in that same situation. I'm glad you're not in that situation. Ding, 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 ding. Let's do a quick dex check. Still kinda am, but help me develop enough tools not to succumb to the environment. Let's see here. Vulpix isn't in crystal. Still waiting on a leaf stone. Mankey's not in crystal. Alakazam's a trade. Gengar's trade. Okay, so Hitmonchan is one of the two I need to work on with the two Tyrogues I have. Okay. I can only get the fossils from Gen 1. Same with Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I'd have to trade for Cyndaquil or Totodile. I'm pretty sure that's Politoed, and Mareep's not in crystal. And Politoed requires a trade. Giraffrig's not in crystal. Steelix is a trade. That's Sizer, which requires trading. Remaraid's not in crystal. Kingdra's a trade. I think that's Blissey, which we're working on right now. Hitmontop I gotta work on with my other Tyrogue. I think that's Porygon 2, which also requires a trade. Entei. So it's really just Entei and the two, Entei and the two Hitmons and Blissey are really all we have to do. We're almost done with the Pokédex, guys. That's crazy. They announced they'll be having a Yu-Gi-Oh! Art exhibition in Tokyo. That's awesome! But anywho, I do believe I'm going to go ahead and call it here for tonight. It has been awesome coming back to streaming. I honestly thought I'd be like more wiped out and more lethargic. Blissey's toward the end. Thought that and Porygon 2 swapped. Okay, cool. But yeah, thank you so much everybody for coming by, for hanging out with me. I'm finally back to streaming. Hopefully I should be back again. I'm not sure when. I'm probably going to take Sunday off, so hopefully Monday I'll be back. Not 100% promising yet. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with me again. It's been so long. But hopefully, unless I get horribly sick again, I should be back to my regular streaming at least 3 days a week. Bye. Bye-bye. Game over, yeah.